Good morning to students. So today I will be discussing in connection with the shaper operations. So before I proceed with the shaper operations, we need to have a review of what we have discussed in the previous class or in the previous session. So in the previous session, we have discussed in length in connection with the types of mechanisms which are used like crank and slotted link mechanism, its construction and working, as well as the Whitworth quick return motion mechanism and hydraulic shaper mechanism. So in that we need to understand one important principle in case of working of a shaper, that always the mechanism used is called as a quick return motion mechanism, because the return stroke in case of a shaper will take faster compared to the cutting stroke, as we have discussed in length in the previous session along with the sketches. So we need to understand now in this session that how the operations, different operations are being carried out in case of a shaper. So before we proceed with the shaper operations, we need to understand that always the ram carrying the tool head along with the cutting tool is given a reciprocating motion. That means the ram is responsible for carrying out the cutting stroke and return strokes, and at the same time we require to feed with the help of a ratchet and pawl mechanism which is incorporated in a shaper to give the automatic feeding to the workpiece, which is held either in a vise or on the machine table of a shaper depending upon the size of the workpiece. So we need to understand two important concepts here. So the first concept is the cutting of or the machining of the workpieces is carried out with the help of a ram which is carrying the cutting tool, okay, and the feed is given either manually or the power feed is given in some special operations, okay, with the help of ratchet and pawl mechanism. So that is how the operation we are going to discuss in detail in this presentation. So we require to understand that how we are going to control the cutting speed, feed, depth of cut, and finally how the machining time. That means whenever we want to remove the material or we want to give a certain profile to the flat workpieces, so we need to understand how much total amount of machining time it takes so as to produce those operations. So as you are going to see on the screen here, there are 6 different important operations which are being carried out on a shaper. The first one is machining horizontal surfaces. So as the name itself implies, horizontal means here the top surfaces. Basically we are concentrating on the top surface of a flat workpiece. When that machining is done, that is called as machining of horizontal surfaces. Okay, that is very, very important. And in case of this, we need to understand how we are going to adjust the cutting stroke length, etc., and so many things with the sketches in the subsequent presentations. So we need to understand only one important thing, that the machining of horizontal surface is nothing but reducing the thickness of the workpiece. That means suppose if the thickness of the workpiece is say about 35 millimeters, we want to reduce it to 30 millimeters height, then 5 millimeter we have to remove. So in such cases we require to use operation known as machining of horizontal surfaces. Similarly, machining of vertical surfaces. So all the vertical planes of your work, for example, basically we need to understand here that shapers are having wide applications for giving a certain machining operation or giving a certain profile to the flat workpieces, okay, except in some special cases which we are going to discuss in the presentations. Okay, so whenever we want to carry out the machining operations, even the vertical faces means, okay, which are available in the, that is reduction of what we can say as considered as the height, the vertical planes, the surfaces which are coming as vertical faces, they are all called as vertical machining operations. Similarly, machining angular surfaces. Suppose if at all I want to cut the flat workpieces at a certain angle, it may be 45 degrees or 30 degrees, 60 degrees, whatever is there, okay, then how this can be done. So all these things we are going to discuss in length, and cutting of the slots, grooves and keyways. So especially we need to understand here that in case of a shaper, the cutting of the slots, especially on the cylindrical grooves, as well as the cutting of the slots whenever we want to go in for the production of the T slots. You might have already observed that all the machining tables are having the T slots. Even those production of the T slots can also be carried out by the shaper. Similarly, production of the grooves, particular shape grooves can be cut, as well as the keyways. Keyways also play a very important role, because especially the production of the keyways on the shafts which are to be joined. So especially if you take any type of, for example, one coupling I wanted to fix on a shaft, then the shaft should have a keyway, which you already studied in your previous subjects, okay, especially in the machine drawing also, where whenever the assembling of the couplings is being done, okay, you are going to mention there what is the length of the keyway, what is the depth of the keyway. That keyway production on the shafts is also carried out by the shaping machine. That is very, very important. So actually that means the shaft of a particular diameter is held firmly on a machine table with the help of a vise, okay, then the cutting tool is given a reciprocating motion with the help of a ram so as to produce the slots. So such keyways can also be produced on a shaper machine. Machining of irregular surface. Suppose if the surface is quite irregular, that means especially the production of the curves I wanted to do. In such conditions also we are going to use the shapers. And machining of the splines or cutting of gears. This is also a very, very important aspect. So whenever we want to go for the production of the splines and the gears are also, the production procedure remains the same. Splines are nothing but the systematic production of the grooves, okay, around the periphery of a shaft. Suppose if you are going to take a periphery of a shaft, we are going to consider a shaft like this. So I wanted to cut equidistance profile like this. This much amount of material is cut. This is also cut like this. So it is as good as the production of the gears only. If at all I want to cut the grooves around the circumference of a shaft, that is called as the splines. Okay, that is responsible. The splines being cut are responsible for giving the axial movement of the mounted object. Okay, and also the cutting of the gears can also be done by holding the workpiece between the two centers and by the indexing arrangement, which we are going to discuss in length in the subsequent presentations. So we need to understand here one important aspect. Before we start the machining of all the 6 operations, we require to set the shaper in a correct way. Then only those operations can be done practically correct. So the first point is work is properly held in a vise. First of all, we have to decide the size of the workpiece. If the workpiece is very large, then directly it can be mounted on the machine table of a shaper. Otherwise, we require to hold it in a vise. Table is raised to a gap of 25 to 30 millimeter between the tool and the work. There should be some gap. That means there should be some gap between the tool and the workpiece of 25 millimeters minimum. The length and position of the stroke are adjusted. See, this is very, very important. Whenever we are going to consider the length of the stroke should be always higher than the length of the workpiece. Otherwise, the cutting is not possible. If the stroke length itself is less, then it is not possible to cut the entire surface of the workpiece. So that is why, say 25 to 30% is added. For example, if the length of the workpiece is say about 20 millimeters, then we require to go minimum of 25 millimeters. of as a stroke length, like that it is. Okay, and the position of the stroke is also adjusted. How much is the length? That adjustment is carried out with the help of a crank and slotted link pin mechanism, as well as on the ram, which we are not discussing in length, because we need to understand here that the length of the stroke should be always more than the length of the workpiece to be machined. That is the main point to be understood here. The length of the stroke should be nearly 20 millimeter longer than the work. See here, already it has been clearly given that the length of the stroke should be 20 millimeters more than the length of the workpiece. The approach and overrun should be 10 and 5 millimeter respectively. This is very, very important. Approach means, so before we start the production, okay, directly we cannot make the cutting tool to touch the workpiece. There should be some gap. That gap we can consider it as 10 and 5 millimeters. Depth of cut is adjusted by rotating down the feed screw of the tool head. The tool head is having the wheel there, okay, hand wheel, or it is also called as a feed screw, through which the depth of cut is given. Means at each cut how much amount of material you are removing. To give a simple example, suppose if the height of the workpiece is say 25 millimeters and we want to reduce it to 20 millimeters, okay, so the total reduction of the material is 5 millimeters. Okay, now I can divide this 5 millimeters, for example, in 2 strokes. That means I wanted to remove 2.5 millimeter at the first one and 2.5 millimeter the second cutting stroke. If I do like that, that adjustment is very, very important. So that 2.5 millimeter depth of cut is given with the help of the feed screw, which is available on the tool head of a ram. Okay, feed is adjusted about half the width of the cutting edge of the tool. So whatever the cutting edge of the tool is there, half of that width is just given as the feed. You require to understand that the feed is given to the work table here exactly perpendicular to the direction of the ram movement, which you are going to understand clearly here. Now let us understand in detail about the machining of horizontal surfaces. So as you are going to see very clearly here, let us understand how it is. Just I will be discussing in detail at the beginning. Okay, so now we need to understand here this portion is nothing but a ram face. Okay, and this portion is called as your tool head, and here you have got a cutting tool, single point cutting tool, and this is the workpiece which is being held, and the feed is given in this direction. So what is the meaning of that? At the beginning this tool will be here somewhere, okay, then the tool will be here this side, and the feed is given in this direction. As the feed is given, so try to understand once again. So this tool will be at the beginning here at this portion, the feed is given, okay, and the cutting tool will take place exactly perpendicular to this surface. Okay, so now let us read it clearly there. The surface produced is horizontal and flat. So whenever I want to go for, just I have explained about this, whenever I want to reduce the height or the thickness of the workpiece, then I am going to carry out this operation. The work is either held in a vise or clamped directly on the machine table. Depending upon the size of the workpiece, we require to hold the workpiece, okay, in a vise or directly on the machine table if it is a larger one. The tool is held in a proper tool holder. That is what you are going to see there. Okay, it is set into proper inclination and at the correct height about the work. This height is very, very important. How much height you are going to consider, that is also an important aspect. The depth of cut is set and the machine gets started. It is not a set, it is wrong. The depth of cut is set. At the beginning only I have to decide how much amount of the depth of cut I am going to give here. Then the cutting takes place. Cross feed to the table is given initially by the hand until the cut starts. After that the power feed can be employed. Because here generally we go for the power feed because every time it is not possible to give the correct amount of feed to the workpiece. After the cut is finished, the machine is stopped and the workpiece is inspected for its surface, okay, whether it is machined correctly or not. If more amount of material is to be removed, then the procedure is repeated until the desired surface is obtained. So we need to understand, just I have taken with an example that depending upon the reduction of the thickness of the workpiece, we have to decide how much depth of cut we are going to give. That is very, very important. Now let us understand how the vertical surfaces are being machined. Vertical surfaces means for a given workpiece, this is a horizontal surface which we have discussed. Now I wanted to machine this surface or this surface. So how this can be machined? That means the surfaces which are vertically available, vertical faces. That is very, very important. So now, as you are going to see very clearly in the previous horizontal surfaces machining, so this was not inclined. So what we have done here, we have given a certain inclination to this tool head which is going to carry out the tool here. It is given an inclination, then only this surface can be machined. It is the machining of the end of the workpiece, squaring up a block or cutting a shoulder. Cutting a shoulder means what? Cutting just vertical cut surfaces. The work is attached in the vise or directly on the table. This is continued as it is. The surface to be machined is carefully aligned with the axis of the ram. A side cutting tool is set on the tool post and the position and the length of the stroke are adjusted. That is very, very important. Here the feeding is given in this direction, as you are going to see here. This is called as a feeding of the tool is given like this, but the workpiece feed is given like this only. Try to understand that. Okay, that is very, very important. A side cutting tool is set on the tool post and the position and the length of the stroke are adjusted. The vertical slide is set accurately at 0 position. This is necessary to enable the tool to move upwards and away from the work during the return stroke. This is very, very important. The tool has to move what? Away from the workpiece as it returns. This prevents the side of the tool dragging on the planed vertical surface during the return stroke. The down feed is given by rotating the feed screw by hand. This is very, very important. So once this inclination is adjusted, the feed is given with the help of this hand wheel. Okay, down feed for cutting operation. The feed is about 0.25 millimeter given at the end of each return stroke. Both roughing and finishing cuts are done to complete the job. Whenever I want to go for the roughing surfaces can also be given and the finishing cuts can also be given here. Now let us understand about how the angular surfaces, so this is similar to the vertical surface, but whatever the workpiece is there, now this is the profile of the workpiece. So I want to cut a certain angle like this. This angle, whatever I want to cut on a workpiece like this. So how this can be cut, that we are discussing here. Angular cut is done at any angle than a right angle to the horizontal or to the vertical plane. As you are going to see, I wanted to cut a certain angle on the surface of a workpiece here. Okay, in such conditions, the adjustment will be made similar to what we have discussed in case of the previous. Only certain angle is considered here. The work is set on the table and the vertical slide of the tool head is swiveled. The entire, see here, this entire portion is getting swiveled, means it is considered with respect to the ram surface. Certain angle is given, okay, either towards the left or right from the vertical position. The apron is then further swiveled. The apron means this portion is called as an apron. So this portion is called as an apron. This can be tilted with respect to the slots which you are going to see here. So this is the slot which you are going to see. With respect to this slot only, this portion can be adjusted to any angle. That is very, very important here. The apron is then further swiveled away from the workpiece so that the tool will clear the work during the return stroke. The down feed is given by rotating the down feed screw. Again, the feeding is to be given in this way itself, but the cutting will take place in an angular way. The down feed is given by rotating the down feed screw. The angular surface can also be machined in a universal shaper or by using a universal vise without swiveling the tool head. In a universal shaper, it is possible to do directly, okay, without swiveling the tool head. Now what we have done here, this entire portion is tilted at a certain angle instead of vertical like this. Okay, so this can be avoided by carrying out the angular surface operation on a universal shaper. So the next operation which we are going to discuss here is cutting of the slots, grooves and keyways. So now just I have explained the significance of production of these operations which are having wider applications. Okay, a shaper can, here what we are going to do, the procedure remains same. So as you are going to see here clearly, the workpiece is held in a vise and this is mounted, this entire portion is mounted on the machine table of a shaper. It is clamped firmly and this is your workpiece. So here the production of the keyway is shown there very clearly. What we are going to do in case of a setting operation, we require to set straight the cutting tool and the required profile keyway is preferred and the stroke lengths are given as usual how we are going to carry out the regular horizontal surface production. The same process is carried out here. There is no much difference. A shaper can very conveniently machine slots, grooves on the workpieces for cutting slots or keyways on the shafts and internal keyways on pulleys or gears. The production is done in such a way that even it is possible to carry out the internal keyways also. But here in the figure we are going to discuss only about the external keyway production or the grooves or slots, whatever is there. For cutting keyways of the slots, square nose tool, nose similar to a parting tool is used. This is very, very important. Now what we are going to do here is we require to select this portion, nose of the tool. Nose of the tool means what? Keyway. This is the nose of the tool, which is a square now, which I have drawn. It is a square. So this becomes the nose of a tool. This profile decides what type of keyway production is being carried out on the shaft. Okay, that is very, very important here. External keyways are made on a shaft by first drilling a hole at the blind end of the keyway. At the blind end means at the other end, just a hole is first drilling is done so that the keyway production can be done very easily. The diameter of the hole should be 0.5 to 0.8 millimeter oversize than the width of the keyway. The depth should be about 1.5 millimeter larger than the depth of the keyway. It is important to leave clearance on the tool at the end of the stroke. This is very, very important. Some clearance is required so that it is possible to feed correctly the workpiece. The speed is reduced while cutting the keyways. Always while the production of the keyways is done, okay, it is done stepwise. That means at the beginning, what we are going to do here is the setting is done in such a way that at the beginning, the feed is given very slowly to a certain depth. Then the cuttings, again it is returning and again some feed is given, like this continuous process, depth of cut is given, okay, and it is a continuous process here which is carried out with the help of this feed screw which is there available, which is not shown here actually, which we have discussed in the previous. See here again, just I'm going back here. By using this hand wheel, it is possible to give the feed even in this case also. In this case also, that is very, very important to be noticed here. The next one coming is machining of irregular surfaces. Suppose if at all I want to go for the production of irregular surfaces. So as you are going to see, the surface is a particular type. The surface of the workpiece which I wanted to do, it is like this. So this is the amount of material that I wanted to remove in the form of a curve. So how this can be done? This operation is very simple. What we are going to do, first we have to decide what type of profile we are going to consider. Then we have to select the nose of the tool according to that, and the production has to be carried out. Shaping operation has to be carried out. This operation is used to produce a contoured surface that is convex, or a concave or a combination of any of the surfaces. Now you are going to see here the concave surface. You are going to see the concave surface which is being cut, because the workpiece is like this and this is the amount of material, okay, that is being removed here with the help of a shaping operation. To manufacture a small contoured surface, a forming tool is used. A forming tool we have to select, and that only we have to use. If the curve is large, for example, if the curve is very large, power cross feed is in conjunction with the manual down feed. If the workpiece shape has too many ups and downs, both the feeds are operated by hand. It is necessary depending upon how much big your surface to be contoured surface is to be machined. Based on that, you have to decide whether you are going for a manual feed or auto feed here. For machining irregular surfaces, a round nose tool is used, as you are going to see very clearly. So this is called as a round nose tool, which is commonly used. The apron is swiveled, okay, the right or left away from the surface. So what we are going to do, we are going to see, first we are going to start with the cut in such a way that, okay, we cannot give directly depth of cut like this. Okay, we have to go step by step. For that purpose, whatever the apron movement is there, that is given in either in this direction or in this direction gradually when the operation is going to be carried out continuously. So the next one coming is machining of the splines or cutting of gears. So this is one of the most important operations which is being carried out on a shapers, but we require to hold between the two centers here. That is very, very important. So as you are going to see clearly, I will make it a bit larger here. So what we are going to do here, this is a tailstock center, okay, and this is a job on which we want to cut the splines or the gears, and we have got a special plate or a pin that is also known as an index plate. Okay, this index plate is responsible for giving the required angle. We are not discussing in detail because again we are discussing in detail while studying the milling machines. Okay, basically which is used for the production of the gears. We need to understand that this plate will provide us a angular motion. That much you remember. Then you need to understand here one important thing, that we are going to consider here a tailstock with the center, and then we are also going to use the dog, and we are going to use the cylindrical workpiece, and the feeding of, see, the stroke is given in this way. This is the shaper, that this is a ram on which the stroke is given, cutting stroke is given for the, as you are going to see here, this is your ram. This is nothing but a ram, which is the stroke is given in this way. The index plate will make, once the cut is considered, then it is responsible for giving the exact angle for the cylindrical, and the next cut starts. That is what we are going to read now clearly on the screen here. The splines or the gear cutting operation is done by using an index center. The work is placed between the two centers, okay, and a spline is cut similar to the cutting of a keyway. After the first cut, the work is rotated through a predetermined amount by using the index plate and index pin. Okay. The periphery of the gear blank is divided and equally spaced grooves are cut by using index plates having a proper hole circles, because we are discussing in detail. You need to understand only one important aspect here. This index plate is responsible for giving the desired amount of rotation for the workpiece. Because how is your job? Your job is a cylindrical. I wanted to cut the equispaced like this, continuously equispaced. So whenever we want to cut equispaced like this, it has to be rotated through the desired angle. So that desired angle is rotated with the help of your index plate. For cutting a gear, a proper formed tool is used. Suppose if at all I want to cut a gear of a particular profile, then the shape of the tool should be of that type only. Then only I can produce that type of gear here. So we need to understand only few important concepts. First, the workpiece is held between the two centers, okay, and the index plate is used for giving the certain angle for the workpiece, okay, and the tool which is mounted on the shaper tool head is given a cutting stroke. So once one particular slot is cut, it is indexed, means rotated to the desired angle as it is predetermined how much angle it has to be rotated. Then the next cut starts. So like this, it is possible to cut the splines or the gears continuously. This is very, very important. Now, this is, as you are going to see on the screen, this is a brief conclusion about the shaper operations, which suppose, because we want to understand here how many operations can be carried out very easily on a shaper. So the first one is called as an inclined surface can be done, and the second one is a contoured surface, and the third one is a groove, which you are going to see here. This is a type of groove which is produced, and this is a deep slot which can be produced. Okay, and the next one is a horizontal surface. This is a horizontal surface which can be machined. This is a vertical surface which can be machined, and this is the step which can be machined. All these surfaces can be machining, can be carried out on a given workpiece block. Your given workpiece block could be like this. Approximate sketch I am drawing. This is the block. On this I can produce all these profiles, cutting operations with the help of a shaper. This is only to make you understand that these surfaces can be produced on a shaper machine. This is very, very important. So now, before we proceed with the next concept in connection with the definitions of cutting speed, feed, depth of cut, and machining time, which is also very, very important, because we need to understand two important concepts here. The depth of cut is given with the help of a cutting tool which is mounted in the tool head of a ram. Depth of cut. The feed is given to the workpiece at the end of the return stroke. This is very, very important. Or at the beginning of the cutting stroke. Any one of the things. Both are same. At the end of the cut, at the end of the return stroke, or at the beginning of the cutting stroke. That is what you need to understand here. Okay, now you are going the same one, it is already shown here for better understanding of the concepts. Now A is the main cutting motion. So what is A here? As you are going to see clearly, A, that means this is the cutting stroke which is given there, is the main cutting motion. C is the feed. Feed is given in this direction. Try to understand. And your D is the vertical adjustment, that is cutting depth. How the cutting depth is given? The cutting depth is given like this. The feed is given like this, the cutting stroke is like this, return stroke is like this. That is why the cutting stroke has been shown with the dark and the return stroke with the light one, which returns. Okay, and the cutting of the surface is being carried out in the form of a chips as usual. This is the working principle. This is as good as a working principle you can consider. Now see, observe how the same operation is being carried out. Compare with these two here. There is absolutely no difference between the two. Okay, absolutely no difference. Here we are going to, in the right portion, we are machining here vertical surface. The depth, the D is the horizontal adjustment. It is not a vertical adjustment, it is called as a horizontal adjustment here which is done. And A is the main cutting motion as usual. Compare these two, both are same. And C is the feed motion. The feed motion is also similar. Here it is named as D, here it is named as C. That's all. No difference is there. And we are cutting either steps. We are cutting either steps here, step cutting, or you can completely cut like this by adjusting all this operations on a shaper. So now here we require to understand these terms now. The main idea of showing this is we are going to define all these terms. What is the meaning of a depth of cut? What is the meaning of a feed? And what is the meaning of a cutting speed? We are going to study them in detail in the subsequent presentation. See on the screen clearly there, we have to define what is the meaning of a cutting speed related to a shaper. The cutting speed of a shaper is the speed at which the metal is removed by the cutting tool in 1 minute. Always it is millimeter per minute. It is called as millimeter per minute or meters per minute. That depends. Okay. In 1 minute, how much amount of material is removed? In other words, only the forward cutting stroke is considered. because in case of a shaper, return stroke is idle. See here, observe carefully, the cutting is done only during the cutting stroke like this. This is a cutting stroke and this is a return stroke. The cutting stroke itself is responsible for cutting the material. That is very, very important. In other words, only the forward cutting stroke is considered. The speed is expressed in meters per minute. These are the units. Feed is the relative movement of the work or the tool in a direction perpendicular to the axis of reciprocation of the ram per double stroke. Per double stroke means what? The cutting stroke is going to take place at the beginning, then the tool returns back. When it returns back, the feed is given to the workpiece. This is very, very important in millimeter per stroke. The next one is the depth of cut. Depth of cut is the thickness of the metal that is removed during machining. So we have to decide here how much depth of cut you are going to give. So this movement decides the depth of cut we wanted to cut at each cutting stroke. Depth of cut is the thickness of the metal that is removed during machining. The perpendicular distance measured between the machined surface and the uncut surface of the workpiece is taken. It is expressed in millimeter or in inches. Generally, we are going to consider the depth of cut in millimeters, and feed in case of a shaper is expressed millimeter per stroke, and cutting speed is expressed in meters per minute. Try to understand these terms. Now, the last concept of the today's is how we are going to calculate the machining time. Okay, the machining time. Okay, now if the length of the cutting stroke, because what happens here is the entire surface, just we have taken a simple example. I wanted to reduce the height of the workpiece from 30 to 25 millimeters. Suppose if I give 2.5 millimeter as the depth, so in the first cut I am going to remove 2.5 millimeters for the entire surface. Okay, and the next again I am going to give another 2.5 millimeter, and then I am going to cut the entire surface. When this is done, the total time is very, very important to be calculated. That is what we are discussing in length now. If the length of the cutting stroke, breadth of the job means width of the job. Okay, the feed and the cutting speed is known. The time required to complete the job may be calculated as follows. So see here clearly, L is the length of the stroke in millimeters. B means width of the work in millimeters. S is the feed. Sometimes we are going to use S also. Sometimes we are also going to use the small f. Both have got same meaning. S is equal to feed expressed in millimeter per double stroke. M is the ratio of the returns time to cutting time. Okay. V is the cutting speed in meters per minute. Then we are going to consider this very carefully. Try to understand the time taken to complete one double stroke is L, where L is the length of the stroke, into bracket 1 plus M, okay, divided by 1000 into V is the formula. Total number of double stroke required to complete the job is B divided by S. Why B divided by S? S is a feed. How much amount of feed? That depends how many number of strokes we are going to give. That is why we require to consider that decides the breadth of the work. So that is why every time the feed, whatever that we are going to give, that decides the total number of double stroke, B divided by S. Total time taken to complete the cut is L into B into bracket 1 plus M divided by 1000. This B, whatever is there, this B divided by see here carefully now, just I am explaining. So this B divided by S is taken directly here itself. Remember, okay, and that value is put here to calculate what is the total time taken to complete the cut. Okay, that is very, very important. Okay, the next concept coming is, let us understand how the different formulas being used. Cutting speed is given as V is equal to N into L bracket 1 plus M divided by 1000. You just remember them. There is no need for any calculations or any derivations, etc. Number of strokes, NS is equal to W divided by F, or B divided by S. Both have got same meaning. Okay, number of strokes, W is a width or the breadth, B, and F is a feed. Or yes, time of one stroke T is equal to L into bracket 1 plus m divided by 1000 into V minutes, and total time is given as L into bracket 1 plus m divided by 1000 into V multiplied by ns. The same formulas is replaced here. Whatever the formula you are going to see, the same formula is here also. Don't get confused here. So in place of W it is written as B, in place of F it is written as S. Try to understand the concepts just for calculation purpose. Okay, so that completes the today's presentation, and along with this I am also going to attach a very important video. Completely see and also give the answers. You require to write the answers, list the operations performed on a shaper, define with respect to the shaper the cutting speed, feed, depth of cut and machining time for the today's session. So with this I am going to complete the today's session, and every student has to write in a separate notebook all the notes which I am going to send in every session. Very, very important. Okay, I am going to finish off the today's session now.
So hello and greetings to all the viewers. Today we will going to discuss about shaper machine introduction, working principle and its operation, as well as we will go through the actual operation on an actual shaper, that is flat surface making. Okay, then we will start now. So this slide represents the learnings in this video. First we will go through the small introduction to the shaper machine, then we will go through the working principle, then we will see the classification as well as operation, and then we will go to the mechanism, what are the different mechanisms which are going to be used on a shaper. Then we will go through our actual process or actual shaper operation, flat surface making operation, and this is what the reference from which this video is preferred or taken. So introduction to the basic manufacturing process and workshop technology by Rajinder Singh. So this slide represents the small introduction. When we talk about shaper, the shaper is nothing but your reciprocating type of machine tool in which the ram moves the cutting tool backward and forward in a straight line. So this is what your ram which moves in a backward and forward in a straight line. Okay. So the major components of shaper as shown in here. So it is intended primarily to produce the flat surfaces. So you can say this is what your base on which this vertical column is mounted along with the support, table support. So here you can see the table cross feed mechanism, and here your driving mechanism like motor which is going to be mounted, and this is what your ram which may move forward or backward along with this tool post, and tool will going to be slide, and this is what your vertical tool feed, so that this tool will going to be moving upward and downward, and these are the other controls for the ram positions. Okay, and this is what your table supports, on which table and your vise are mounted. On this vise your workpieces are held. So you can see these workpieces are moved by this table movement or vise movement upward and downward, and that is called feed. Similarly your tool also going to be feeded upward and downward by using this vertical tool feed hand tool. Okay, so this is what your the shaper machine, and it is as further we will discuss like reciprocating type of machine tool in which this ram moves the cutting tool. This cutting tool will going to be moved through the backward and forward in a straight line. Okay, and this slide represents the small the working principle of a shaper machine. So single point cutting tool is held in a tool holder which is mounted on a ram as we saw earlier. The workpiece is rigidly held in a vise or clamp directly onto the table, and this table may be supported at the outer end. The ram reciprocates, and thus cutting tool held in a tool holder moves forward and backward over the workpieces. So in standard shaper, the cutting of the material takes place during the forward stroke of the ram, while the backward stroke remains idle and no cutting will going to be takes place in a return strokes. So you can see this is what the zoom plot of the tool post. This is what your tool which is going to be mounted on a ram through this tool post, and this is workpiece which is going to be mounted on a vise on a table. So you can say this is what the forward operation in which your cutting will going to be takes place. So you can see this what the chip which is coming out from this workpieces. So it is basically making the flat surface. So the backward strokes remains idle. When we talk about backward, you can say this is backward. So here no cutting will going to be take place, and it is as much faster than the cutting to forward stroke. Okay. So this is what the basic working principle of any type of shaper machine. Okay. Now we'll see the classification. So there are like it is mainly classified into 4 types, and you can see the first is like according to the type of mechanism used for a given reciprocating motions of the ram. So it might be crank type, gear type, or hydraulic type. And further, based on your type of the design table, it might be standard shaper or universal shaper, and according to the position of the travel of the ram. So horizontal type, vertical type, or traveling head type. And fourth one, like according to the type of cutting spoke. So it might be push type or draw type. So these are the 4 major categories in which your shaper is classified. So now we'll see the shaper operation. What are the operations on the shaper machine will going to be takes place. First, machining horizontal surface. So you can say this like horizontal surface cutting process, and then machining vertical surface. So you can say this tool will going to be move upward, so that vertical cutting will going to be takes place. And machining angular surface. So here you can see the slant workpieces at some angle, so that your tool post is move at some angle, so that your cutting will takes place according to the angle between these two, horizontal and your inclined plane. Then slot cutting. So this is what the slot cutting operation. You can see over here. This is vise. This is your tool, and this is what your slot is going to be make on this tool, or you can say the shaft. Keyways cutting. Also you can see the keyways cutting is also going to be takes place on this. So this is what your keyway which is going to be cut by using tool post. And then machining irregular surfaces. So you can say when there are workpieces which are having the different shapes, so that can also be cut using this shaper machine. And then machining splice and cutting gears are also be takes place over the shaper machine. Okay. So these are the major operations which the shaper machine will does. Now we will see the mechanism. So there are like 3 basic mechanism, like crank and slotted link mechanism, Whitworth kick return mechanism, and hydraulic shaper mechanism. So these are the 3 mechanisms which are going to be used to move the ram movement. So this is what the one of the schematic of crank and slotted link mechanism. So if you see, this is what your bull wheel path, which is basically driven by the pinion, or you can say the driving mechanism, so that your slotted bar will going to be move on this circle like this. Once it will move, you will find like this forward motion. This tool will post, and your cutting tool will also going to be move like this, and in backward it will move like that. We will see the actual animation video for Whitworth quick return mechanism, so that you will come to know the in more depth. So this slotted ball will going to be move along this hinge in this bull with path. Okay. So we'll do one thing. We will go to the actual machining or actual flat surface making operation. So there we'll get some more idea about this shaper machine. Okay. Then we will start now. Now if you see, this is what the Whitworth quick return mechanism. So this slotted bar is hinged at the bottom, and which is having the forward as well as backward motion. If you see forward motion, backward motion is quite faster. Okay. So now we will see our actual shaper machine operation. So if you see, this is what the actual shaper machine. This video is captured from one of the industry. Now he is putting some alignment so that we can cut the workpieces. So now to be seen. The actual cutting is going to be happening. the small you will find the workpieces are cut in the form of small chips. So here basically the surface machining is happening. This is what your tapered mechanical pulleys which are driven by your driving mechanism, that is motor, and this is what your ram moving forward and back along the straight line. So when you see only forward strike, your cutting is up, so you can see more closer look, right? And this is what the mechanism which you are done to be work, and this is the further closer. So as per the feed given to the tool, it will cut the basically flat surface making of. To build it. This is what the another shaper machine. So if you see the flat surface for that making is happening. So you can cutting tool and also the workpiece size compared to the shaper. Another shape machine, so you can closer look of mechanism. You can see this is tape mechanism. You can accord increase the height of the work and see the triangular shape of what the small they are cutting. So small chips, and now this tamper or you can simulate. I think this completed work is so now he is removing workpiece, right? Here also now he is ready workpiece. This side also they will going to make shaper machine. So you can see the locks workpiece, so that it's going to move from his plates. Okay, now this is done. They will touch up grinder. So like that, the box is by using process.